Okay, welcome back. So we are going to be looking at Birds of Prey, Volume 5, Number 7, Undercover Animals, Part 1 of 2. Writer Kelly Thompson, art Javier Pina, and colorist Jordi Belair. As you can see, this is the cover that caused that small kerfluffle. It was probably bigger than small on X because of Barbara and full use of the legs. Though I think this is kind of false advertising because she's mainly Oracle in this particular issue, and Cass isn't really there either. So while I like the cover, it does not speak truthfully of what goes on inside. So, Sin is alive and back with Black Canary in Gotham, and the world didn't get destroyed, but the cost was high, and nobody's exactly sure what it means yet. Shocking revelations in the wake of the Birds' first mission lead Dinah to a conspiracy against the Birds of Prey and a whole new mission. New mission, new team. Hold on to your butts. Conspiracy is a fun word. Of course, not if you are probably in politics or Romans at the time who hated and deeply feared conspiracies. But if you break it down to con and then spiracy from spiro spirare, meaning to breathe, con together, to breathe together. I mean, isn't that really interesting? Which is what these groups are doing potentially. It might just be one person, but just if you think about kind of political groups of old, and yeah, they were like secret and whispering and breathing together. So just a great image for that particular word. So I will say that my only nitpick with this issue is actually at the beginning. So I think I'll just say it right off the bat, since it is at the beginning. I just wonder why Maps has suddenly revealed herself to Barbara when in the previous issue she intentionally hid herself at the end of the previous issue. Nothing was supposed to be known about her. Dinah couldn't talk about all of this. So it's just interesting. Why now? Now, of course, we could say that, well, Meridian said you can't tell her at all and until this mission is over because she would try to come no matter what. So that could work. But the mission was over the previous issue when on the rooftop there. So I don't know why Maps didn't reveal herself. We could have alleviated some of Barbara's pain of betrayal. But that would be my, I think, only nitpick of this particular issue. I appreciate the Maps character analysis that we get in this particular issue. That even as an adult, she holds on to her optimism and her hope, sometimes to her detriment. And while Babs and Dinah do call this out, because we find out how Meridian is able to shift between time streams, I guess we'll say, they also say that it is an asset. And I think it's just great to see that the maps that we love now, is still the maps in the future. The inclusion of the green and the red is interesting. I don't fully understand how Maps is connecting to the green, but the mere mention of them, I think, brings in a wealth of possibilities when it comes to characters showing up. I personally love Poison Ivy. I don't think she's the big bad, but it would be awesome if we could bring her in. And given the fact that we bring in someone from the red in this issue, maybe we'll see her later on. Now, when I heard about the red, I immediately thought, of course, about Animal Man, but I figured Thompson is not going to use a male. She's definitely going to go with a female. And I was just like, I think it's going to be Vixen. And then, in fact, we see Vixen later on. And then I'm assuming we're going to see her in the next issue as well. And I just love how Oracle just makes an appointment and Vixen like immediately knows what has happened. So that was a fun scene as well. Oracle very much oracling here. So Thompson is doing something here that I didn't expect, which is have a new roster of birds, which I mentioned at the end of the previous issue. New roster with this new storyline. Now, this could be too much, but I think Thompson finds a good balance because she keeps some members on the team. Of course, we have Dinah and we have Barda and Cass, and I guess Meridian, we could say temporarily. And most likely, we're going to have the constant duo of Dinah and Babs. So even if we're rotating people out with storylines, Dinah and Babs is our constant. I am a bit disappointed we don't have Harley and Zealot, mainly because I think there's always more team building that can be done. Plus, there were all these unanswered Zealot questions that I have, and I'm not sure that now we're going to get them, which is super frustrating. But hey, Barda and Cass for the win. And, definitely they're bringing in some of the humor. And I think that the tone continues to be balanced between seriousness, gravity, and some lightness as well. And speaking of Cass and Barda, it seems like they are at a laser tech. Just with the organization of the particular place, the architecture of it, and then this gun here. It's like pay for your own danger room in order to train Sin slash Megara. I don't know if Sin's going to have a handle by this point. Sin has this costume, by the way, which is mostly black and then with green. I don't vine like that might not be, I don't know, ribbon like. Oh, her hair also has green highlights as well to kind of show that Megara is still with her. But wraps that, yeah, ribbons or not lace. I don't know. It's hard for me. I enjoy looking at fashion. Am I going to be able to describe it? No. But you can at least tell the accents that are green. It's like, okay, well, Megara is here with her. So the favorite scene I think would definitely be this particular laser tag scene where Bart is like about to go in lethal and Cass is like, well, not totally lethal, right? So Cass is always the one that is bringing her a bit back into saneness or safety potentially for all parties involved. Or so that could be my favorite scene, or the scene where Vixen is helping Cass or showing off different options, fashion options for Cass to wear at this future show. And just the fact that Cass is not saying anything, but it's all to do with her facial expressions. And then I also like how Vixen is rendered as well with her facial expressions. So those would be my two favorite scenes. I also like the discussion of Dinah's outfit. I can't tell if they're in the same room or just next to each other. But yeah, Dinah's saying, I think you no. Okay, well, it starts with Mari, and then Mari says, yes, I think you left some information out of this mission profile. You're mad about the outfit? It's not an outfit so much as it's lingerie. Your superhero costume is basically a swimsuit. It has a jacket. And fishnets. You think the fishnets make it less sexy? You know what I mean? Not like this on display, like weird, sexy baked goods. And tell me you didn't put sin in one of these, Mari. My God. Of course not. She's 16. She's wearing a catering uniform. So that was fun. And you don't even see them. You don't know what the outfit is. And I suppose that this person right here is just an assistant to Mari, but she's just hanging out on her phone. I really like the art by Pina. I think that it is a good transition. If we're finished, sadly, with Romero, I think it's a good transition. Or perhaps Romero is taking a break for 2 issues. Pina's got this, and then Romero will come back with the next art. But similar vibes, I would say. And then because we have a consistent colorist with Jordi Belair, we have that feel that kind of carries over. And I really liked the flashback and how it just the tone and the colors that were used. I like how this was laid out. So great scene there. So art, in my opinion, was great. I also like how Pina designed the runway outfits, that they're each distinct. They're each, I think, fitting the character that is wearing them. And then also looking at body types and how each of the women has a particular and specific to them body type that definitely makes sense. Like Barda, of all of the four, like, yeah, absolutely, Barda's six pack would be showing. I was trying to count very quickly how many abs were showing compared to, the others. Yeah, so I just like this. This also reminds me of that new film that is out now, Love Lies Bleeding, with Katie O'Brien. Katie O'Brien would actually be she would be a great Big Barda. I don't know if they'll ever bring the new guards into a cinematic universe, but yeah, Katie O'Brien would definitely hit that out of the park. The fact that Sin is wearing a catering outfit because or uniform because she's 16, but Cass is on the runway, obviously, I think speaks to the fact that Cass has to be 18 or older. I think maybe Donovan throws out 20, something like that, but it's anyone's guess. I think people hedge and they don't like to throw out specific numbers because then they're like locked in. And then other people will come out and be like, but you said in this issue that she was blank. So I don't know. I don't know who, I'll leave that there. The bad guy of, let's see. Okay. I don't think that the bad guy of this two issue story is the big bad that we're looking for. That's looking to destroy, but Barbara looking to destroy the birds of prey. It feels actually like the bad guy in this two issue series might be Mad Hatter, given the fact that once Vixen's clothes were ripped, as we see on this page here, that she regained control of her own mind. Now, obviously, this is kind of the conspiracy is tied in because she's a part of the Red. And she's also, a member. At one point, she carries a card, anyways. I guess like the Justice League carries a card for Birds of Prey so she can be called upon at any point. So if you're going to destroy Birds of Prey, you got to also destroy Vixen. So there's like that kind of connection. But I just think that this is an offshoot and it's somebody else. Maybe Vixen will be able to help out with the red and the green. But yes, I think the big bad has yet to be revealed. I like the balance that Thompson has created with Babs's role on the team, mostly as Oracle, but also doing some investigative work in the field. Obviously, probably because it's her maybe main connection, even though Donna has a connection with the Vixen, but Oracle is the one that gets them into that appointment, and she's kind of the name behind the squad, even though she was nameless and faceless for so long. But she's out there, but then when it comes down to it, she is sitting back behind the desk here. Let's see here. Adina says, I see you have cleverly gotten yourself out of the undercover mission. And Dad says, Vixen's plan wasn't the only reason I decided to run things as Oracle rather than join you in the field. If our time traveling villain is behind this and doesn't know you're involved, you've involved me, keeping up that ruse might give us an edge. Besides, I'm close by and I'll join you if things get pear shaped. And Dinah is annoyed, grumble, grumble. And Babs has noted it in the official mission notes. But Dinah also says, and this is another best part, a favorite part for me, and certainly gives me all the nostalgia feels. Dinah says, I miss having you in my ear. And that says, Grosco solve crimes, Canary out, Oracle out. And then once gone, Bad says, I missed it too. So definitely, this is, I liked the first arc. It was really strong in the beginning. 5 was a bit of a blip, as I said, and then 6 kind of anticlimactic, but this is like, oh my gosh, this feels like classic Birds of Prey. And if we have a rotating roster, but we have this consistency, I think that there'll be a good balance there. And hopefully we'll have people that we've not seen on the team before and other people. And then also if we have Barda and Cass and keeping that buddy cop that I love so much, I think that'll be great as well. But it honestly, like this scene in particular, just felt like this is the essence of Birds of Prey. So I'm super excited about this new arc. Beyond these 2 issues, since we know that that's going to be a short story. Honestly, besides that initial nitpick, I don't see anything wrong with this particular issue. And I think if you are wanting to give the story a try and maybe you weren't invested in 1 through 6, I think number 7 is an awesome hopping on point for new and old fans as well. So I'm going to give this, shocking to say, but 10 out of 10 birds. Okay, so the only thing left, which is rather embarrassing, is my literature recommendation. Now, I say it's rather embarrassing because I think I've read like 40 books already in 2024, but the vast majority of those have been smut. And so I'm not going to go through and tell you 40 books that I have read. If you want maybe a tailor-made recommendation list for 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 you, then you can tell me maybe some of your tropes that you like and I can give you some stuff. There are ones that I have liked a lot. Um and other ones that as I was reading, I'm like, this was not worth it. But I'll give you the ones that I 4 starred, 4 stars and above. I don't think I've given any of mine 5. I will tell you which ones. I don't even know. When was the last? Let's see. Trying to think when Price of Salt. Oh, I must have. Okay, there's the smut. Um, I will say of all of L. Kennedy's because I've read all the hockey ones except for the Graham Effect, which I have on my shelf. I have a physical copy of that one. I would recommend the first one, which was The Deal, and my personal favorite main male character is Colin Fitzgerald in The Chase. So I would get that one. My tattooed hockey player guy. Okay. So maybe I just won't tell you the smuts, but The Wretched of the Earth, by Franz Fanon. I read that. That was I would say I mean, it's not like the easiest read, about colonialism, but it was worthwhile. Um, scanning through the smut. I will say I do like Stephanie Archer as a writer. Um, I like her behind the net better than no. I'm trying to think. I like her first hockey one more than the second hockey one. But then there's a 4 story or set in the same town. I really liked The Wrong Mr. Right, so I recommend that one. It was The Bookworm was in there, a bookworm and a surfer, so that was nice. Just Action: How to Challenge Segregation Enacted Under the Color of Law by Richard Rothstein and Leah Rothstein, and this is sort of a spiritual successor to The Color of Law. It was more technical, so it was definitely more difficult to read. Worthwhile, yes, but definitely more difficult. I did not like The Love Hypothesis by Allie Hazelwood as much as other people have. It was okay, but I think that one is highly rated. The Sin Bin by Anastasia White. I did give that 4 stars. Killers of the Flower Moon, The Osage Murders and the Birth of the FBI by David Grann. I enjoyed that. I wanted to read that. That was the last movie I had to watch. I watched all of the contenders for Best Picture before the Oscars, and that was the last one because I knew it was 3.5 hours. So I read it, and then the following Monday I sat down and watched that whole film. It sure was a lot. Oh boy. And speaking of the Oscars, I got 16. I predicted 16 out of 23 correct. And then finally, which I gave 5 stars, not smut, but I'm good. Prima Facie, or yeah, Prima Facie by Susie Miller, which is a play. And well, if you know anything, I guess, about shows like West End or Broadway, you will have known that Jodie Comer played that. It's a one-woman show. It's about a barrister who typically defended people who were accused of sexual assault. And then in a turn of events, she herself is sexually assaulted by a romantic partner. And then she's on the stands. And so yeah, it's really interesting, very powerful. So I highly recommend that. And I think that's all I will say. So again, if you should actually, I'm still looking forward to hearing what people's favorite romantic tropes are. Uh, the surprise pregnancies, not liking it. There is one, oh, it was Sin Bin. I had 3 chapters left, and this chick gets pregnant. I'm like, why are we wasting our time on this? But anyways, such is life. You can certainly judge me for my reading of smut, but in all the stresses that I have in life and all of the jobs, this is one thing that I can sort of relax, turn off the brain, and just have fun with. And you know what? It's a nice stress relief. So I'm unapologetically still gonna read it. And I just am like whittling down my Goodreads of the 2 reads, and then I think I'll probably stop. So it's not so bad of an addiction. But whenever I go on Instagram and like I see a cutesy cover and I look to see what it is, that's probably what I need to do, is stop doing that, because then I get intrigued. I'm like, this sounds good, and then put it on my Goodreads. So it only gets bigger rather than smaller. But I can stop. I can stop anytime. Actually, if I had thought more in advance, I would have given up the smut um for Lent. But as it was, when Lent happened or began, I think I was in the middle of one that I borrowed from the library, so it was problematic, because then I would have had to leave it unfinished and return it. So I just didn't. So what I did was give up reels on Instagram, because that's certainly where I can lose a lot of my time. So I think that's it. I just went off on a diatribe about smut. Well, remember, you can send any questions or comments to batgirltheoracle@gmail.com. Like the show on Facebook, follow it on Xwitter, Batgirl the Oracle. Subscribe to the show on YouTube for an uncut version, and follow the Batman universe on Facebook and Twitter as well, and support it by subscribing to Patreon. Once again, thanks to Mile High Comics for sponsoring Batgirl the Oracle, the Barbara Gordon podcast. And as far as I know, we'll do some vintage, and by we, I mean I, the royal we. We'll do some vintage Birds of Prey next episode, so you can look forward to that. I forgot how far in the series I am. I was looking at my Excel worksheet. I'm like, wow, I'm closer to 100 than I thought. And then I was scrolling down, like, wow, this show is closer to ending than I thought. So here we are. I hope that you are safe out there. Oh, I forgot to tell you that in March, I have embarked upon a March fitness challenge. I wanted to see if I could run at least a mile every day in March. So I've yet to run. I'm actually, as I finish this episode, I'm going to go out there and run, I think just 2 miles. But so far I've done it. Sometimes it's hard, especially the days that I go to the gym in the morning, and then I typically walk during my lunchtime break, and then it's running, so my legs are already tired, or the gym days specifically that are leg day is problematic. Oof. Yeah. So there have been some hard days, but we're doing it. We're doing it. We're bringing some people in. I'm encouraging other people. Hey, if you out there want, it's never too late to start. If you like email me and like, hey, give me a challenge, I'll give you one. Harry, for example, he's doing at least a mile walk every day, and Dawn has joined in. And like, maybe you want to drink 8 more ounces a day, or you want to give up sodas for the rest of March, something like that. Like, do something. It's never too late to start. But yeah, challenge yourself. And then if you need me to hold you accountable, I absolutely will, because I think that's one of the beautiful things about doing challenges together, is you have someone to grumble with and celebrate with, and keep you accountable. So if you need that in me, I'll be glad to do it. But until then, which I guess next time I'll be like, hey, I'll tell you all about how I felt on March 31st. But until then, fly on, Babs lovers.